Hello and welcome to Stretty News TV's preview for Everton at Goodison Park. We're here with sponsor Kronenberg 1664. Ian's got his Smirnoff, and Jonathan's got his Cobra, and Serge had his sausages. Previewing Everton this weekend, Everton under Roberto Martinez on a sterling job there. We're going to look at Everton first, then preview United going into the game, and then obviously give our predictions. So we're going to start on Jonathan. So John, what have you made of Roberto Martinez overhaul at Everton this season? You know, you've seen a mid-table team now competing for top four.
Yeah, extremely impressive, hasn't he? I think everyone's been very impressed with Martinez this year. I can't remember who it was, but someone was asking on Twitter the other day, would we have opted for Martinez over Moyes if we'd have known what we know now? You know, had we been given the option? And you know, I think probably quite a significant number of Reds probably would, in hindsight.
Given what we know now or what we knew at the time?
No, given what we know now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you know, I think a significant number, wouldn't they? At the time, it would have been a bit of a punt, I think. But yeah, no, I mean, you know, you do read a lot of reports from prominent people within football saying how he's rejuvenated the club at Everton, and it's all positive, really. So yeah, you can't help but be impressed by his job there.
Ian, looking at the football Everton play this season, it's all pretty much fluid football. They've gone from a team that had limits to being limitless. They push boundaries. Are you surprised from what we've seen with Moyes this season that they were a team that had that limit, but now they're being pushed by someone with philosophy? Are you surprised by that watching United this season?
I wouldn't say you'd be surprised, really. You know, Martinez did an extremely good job at Wigan, and he's got players playing. What he's done with Everton is he's got a good side there. Moyes had a good side, and all he's done now is just add an attacking flair to their thing. Is they use their fullbacks so well, it's untrue. Baines, Coleman, two great fullbacks, and if you can use them to good advantage to double up on each side, then they've shown so much attacking potential. And then you've got Barry, McCarthy. You can sit in and defend, drop in when you need them to. So they're quite a really good balanced side, and you can't. I don't know where you've got to try and make a comparison between Moyes and Martinez. Moyes' era at Everton, probably, if you ask the Everton fans, probably came at the right time. You know, they would have another season or two. They may have probably got frustrated, and you would have seen protests for him to go. So it's probably a gift to Everton for him to move on. But Martinez, you know, he played the same style of football at Wigan, and God, they've got a gift in him at the moment. It's the same as Brendan Rodgers moving over to Liverpool. You know, he's done fantastic at Liverpool, and I think that the majority of us are all still cursing the idea of Liverpool winning the 19th title. But you know, when you've got someone with philosophy of football who can enforce that onto a team and make them become winners, then you've got all the time in the world for them.
Just before I go to Serge, I'm aware of Jonathan's friend that's an Everton fan that has viewed the show before, and he spoke about his distrust in David Moyes as Everton manager while he was there. Jonathan, can you elaborate on that as a friend? What was he like when Moyes was over Everton? Because we've seen a big difference this season. They're competing for top four now.
Yeah, no, it's funny you mentioned that, because incidentally, I wanted to bring that up on the back of what Ian was saying there. I mean, there's this perception that, you know, Everton fans comprehensively, they all thought that Moyes was a fantastic manager, but actually, when you delve a bit deeper and you speak to Evertonians across the board, that isn't really the case. It's a bit of a myth, particularly the older Evertonians like Dan, my pal who you're referring to there. I think he's in his mid-30s, Dan, and you know, he sort of recalls the days when Everton were a little bit of a force in the 80s. So this kind of perception that Moyes came in and saved the club he views as a little bit false, really. So, there are Evertonians that were sceptical about David Moyes even when he was there, and they weren't necessarily thinking that he was the saviour.
See, the thing about David Moyes is when you look at Everton, he did do a solid job there. But when I mentioned it to Ian before we started, we are talking about Manchester United, and instead of having limits, it's a club where you should be pushing boundaries, and good isn't good enough. You should always try and better yourself. That's the aim. Serge, this season, Everton, what have you made of it? What have you made of Everton this season? They're a joy to watch. Are you surprised with their position in the league?
I think I said at the beginning of the season that if you actually look at the team themselves, the exact, bar a couple of players, I think about 3 players, they're exactly the same lineup as when Moyes was manager. I mean, Moyes did a fantastic job at Everton. I don't think anyone could take away from that. He brought them from being a lower end club, always kind of fighting for relegation, now to a solid top 6 club, and now they're even fighting for Champions League. So someone said it, I think I see it as a kind of progression for Everton, taking on Martinez, who was an attacking manager. Obviously Moyes was a bit defensive. He still is a bit defensive manager. I think that's something that he's got to change within his own tactical nous, so to speak. But the bit of joy to watch. It's helped from the fact that Lukaku's been a big force for them, as he was for West Brom last season. So I don't know where they would be without Lukaku and some of their other main players. Who were brought in by Martinez. There'd be top signings. Gareth Barry, top loan signing. Lukaku, top loan signings. But if you take them out of the team, are they the same squad?
That's the question, because we've spoke to Ian at length and we spoke to Jonathan. And another question for you, Serge, is you've mentioned Lukaku, and you've mentioned that they brought in Lukaku on loan. The boy from Barcelona, I can't pronounce his name.
Deulofeu.
Yeah, that's Gareth Barry, who's done very well there. What Roberto Martinez, or his job next season, is he hasn't got the funds, unless they get Champions League, to splash out and sign these players he needs. He's done a great job in getting in loan players, and they've cemented in his squad quite well. His job next season is to try and do that again. Will he be able to take the same players on? Maybe Lukaku will cost a fortune. Gareth Barry, not going to get time at City, so there's a bit of a chance there. The boy from Barcelona, not going to happen. So will he be able to do that again?
I mean, I think if you look at the actual manager of Martinez, he is a really top manager, and I think it all comes down to one boiling point, and that's motivation. And I think Martinez is proven time after time that he's got the motivation inside him to be able to motivate others around him to believe that they can play better, play out their skin, and play almost more than to their potential. So there's no reason why he shouldn't be able to carry on what he started. I believe he could. I mean, look at Wigan. Look at what he did. Look at the job he did at Wigan. He did a fantastic job at Wigan. Wigan were all they weren't a good squad. I think everyone would agree with that. They didn't have any really fantastic players, but then again, he didn't really make any fantastic signings there. So I don't know where the arrows point there. But if you actually look at Wigan themselves, he managed to keep them in the Premier League time after time until I think it was kind of a bit like time's up now, and they had to go down. But then again, they did go down and they won the the FA Cup. So who knows?
No, definitely. So we've spoke about Everton this season, and they've done a great job. Roberto has done a great job, and they're playing good football too. To add on to that, moving on, we're going to talk about United. We're not going to talk about our starting 11s because, well, we're boring now because we haven't really got much to play for. Season's over and done with now, sadly. But we will talk about United approach going into the game. What should we look out for? Jonathan, should David Moyes, now the league is over and done with, should he play some youngsters? I know one of the main guys from the youth team picked up an injury tonight, but other than that, should he start cementing the likes of some of the young guys? I know Jesse Lingard and some of them are out on loan.
James Wilson
who picked up an injury tonight. He can't obviously play, but should he be looking to introduce these guys?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's certainly United fans would appreciate it, wouldn't they? You know, if he starts to try and introduce these players gradually towards the end of the season. As great a stalwart as players like Vidic have been for us, obviously we're all aware that he's leaving next year, and obviously, you know, probably the last game at Old Trafford, it would be nice to see him play. But aside from that, we really should be trying to foster that relationship between Smalling and Jones, or Evans either, or for next season. Obviously, you know, no disrespect to Vidic, he's been an amazing servant for the club. He's been an absolute stalwart. So of course we want to see him play in his last appearance at Old Trafford, and maybe the last game of the season if it's away, I can't remember. But aside from that, you know, the type of players that, and also the players that Moyes has in his mind that we're not aware of, that probably will be departing the club in the summer. You know, only he will know that. But you know,
he could be departing himself.
He could be departing himself. Maybe he'll just sit in the dressing room and let.
Can we try him in midfield?
Yeah, he couldn't do much worse, could he? But no, it'd be nice if he does give us some indication of how he's gonna go about the job next year, if he's here.
Yeah, we've got a bit of a streaker behind Ian.
I was going to say, can we try this in midfield next year? She's probably going to level it.
You should try her in goal with her cat-like reactions.
Nice one, Serge. So moving on to Ian. United not going to get top 4 this season, I can't see it. There's obviously, if you read into stuff, Miguel Delaney has reported from ESPN that the Glazers are demanding Europa League football. Ian, because of funds, they obviously need that television, whatever, not going to get Champions League next season. Do you want to be paying for Europa League football next season?
There's a bit of a...
Do you want Europa League next season?
If you went away to some of the Europa League destinations, then definitely. Because
bring on Ajax.
Yeah, I want to go to Crimea. Crimea FC is calling my name.
Bring on Amsterdam.
Crimea.
Just anywhere away seems to be...
Azerbaijan.
Serge just likes to go as far afield as possible. Doesn't really care how well it's going to affect United's league form.
You know why? Because I know Jonathan's going to be by my side.
He's the lovely relationship of those two on a Euro away.
Bit of a romance.
Blossomed in Munich.
With the camcorder.
To answer the question...
Don't want to know any more about a camcorder in U2 Munich. We'll leave that one there, lads.
To Frankfurt, sausaging. So Ian, to answer the question, no fencing, none of Jonathan's antics.
No fencing.
Do you want Europa League next season? Nothing Europa League. What do you want?
I think we've got to go for Europa League. We've got to try and get as high up the table as possible. It seems to be that Arsenal are slipping considerably downwards. Everton, in actual fact, are now under pressure really for that Champions League spot, because they've got themselves on merit. They've got themselves there. They've got a number of injuries. If they don't beat United, they've still got City to play. You know, this could be the game that gives Everton Champions League football next season. If it doesn't, and Arsenal get that spot, does Martinez's improvements and his style of football all become nothing?
Yeah, well,
so
yeah.
It's a bit strange point, and I know I'm touching back on the idea of Everton there, but I think United have still got a aim for 6. Tottenham, despite their win the other day, seem to be on the balance, because they're going to lose their manager in the summer, in Tim Sherwood. Who's going to come in, we don't know yet. So that seems to have really put a dampener down on the end of their, which is already bad season for them really, because they should be aiming higher than where they are.
So moving on,
we should be sat behind them at this stage.
So moving on, right? You got Jonathan, Serge. You've got 5 seconds. It's basically yes or no. I'm gonna go to Jonathan first. Europa League, yes or no?
only if they're not going to charge us the same price they do for the Champions League. Because
Right.
there was that rumour circulating. I don't know if anyone can shed any light on that for us.
No, they're not.
They're not going to.
They're not going to do.
So what is it, John?
It's so hard, isn't it? I'm not bothered either way, to be honest with you. It would be nice to have a few away days in Europe, but by the same token, it'd be nice to fully focus on the Premiership next year.
Sarge, yes or no? Quickly.
No, I don't think we need the distraction of the Europa League. I think next year we should be concentrating solely on the Premier League and trying to reclaim our title that we must have back in our trophy cabinet.
Right, Uncle Malik thinks differently. So we've got 2 questions we're going to just answer from Twitter. First of all, this one question, just going to go to Jonathan for this one. For the last one, we're going to go to the whole panel. One reader, one viewer even, asks, how do you think Moyes will be received by Everton fans? So Jonathan, go on, your friend that's an Everton fan. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, we're going to have to get... I mean, I know a few Everton fans, and I did a bit of a kind of poll with them at the start of the season to sort of determine their thoughts on him. We'll have to get Dan on, because I know that you'll appreciate his thoughts, Dale, on Moyes. He's not the biggest fan, but as we were discussing before, you know, Dan has sat with some old school Evertonians during his time, and he said that they have, you know, especially the last few seasons Moyes was there, when they felt that he basically plateaued in the job. You know, he'd stagnated and he'd taken the club as far as they can go. There were a lot of murmurings against Moyes. And I think it's a sort of similar to, I know I'm going off on a bit of a tangent here, sort of similar to Pulis, you know, at Stoke, you know, potentially are they managers that had taken their clubs as far as they could have gone. But getting back to the question, do I think he'll be well received? Yeah, more or less I do think he will be, yeah, because I think the majority of Everton fans, particularly the younger demographic,
Nice one. Yeah, I don't know. I think he's done a solid job there. There's no reason why he should get a bad reception. You know, he did an okay job there. He did well. The last question comes from, funny enough, a Spurs fan. He writes about Spurs on the blog. I'm not going to say his Twitter name, it's going to get me in trouble. But it's basically the Y word for the Spurs fans out there. Of the 6 teams above us right now on the table, which one hurts us the most as United fans? Ian, which one hurts you the most?
Probably gotta say Liverpool, ain't it?
Sarge?
Without a doubt, the bin dippers, Liverpool, every day of the week.
Jonathan?
Yeah, Liverpool.
They got a home and run, so definitely Liverpool has to be, because you know we spent so long looking down at them. Now they're challenging for the league title. We won't get top 4. It's a bit of a blow, isn't it? You know, but then again, they spend so much time looking down at us in the end. We've had our long reign of success. How's that feel for them? You know, we could be going through, I hope not, something similar. I hope United sort their act out, get a manager in, it's winning mentality, philosophy, and we could sort that out. You know, you never know what could happen in the next few months, and United could be turned around again, it could be competing. Fingers crossed. So guys, just before we wrap up, clean panel, we're going to talk about predictions. Serge, give us a shot.
Well, they lost to Crystal Palace at home. I'm going for 2-1 United.
John?
Yeah, 2-1 United. I like that, Serge. I didn't have to think as well.
Thank you, Jonathan.
3-1 United.
You're letting me out in the cold, lads. Big time. I'm going 2-1 Everton. It's at Goodison Park. Everton are playing great football this season. I know you mentioned Palace, but Palace have done a great job under Tony Pulis as well. Everton did damage against some of the bigger teams this season, and I think they'll do the same to us this season. We're kind of on a low right now after Bayern, and I think, you know, we kind of expect to get beat by Bayern anyway, but it still hit us quite hard that we've nothing to play for, and we've 4 games to go, and we're usually excited at this stage of the season. We're usually fighting for something. We're usually gathering the points up, and fighting against City or fighting against Chelsea or a few years ago Arsenal. That's what we're used to, and it's a bit flat right now, unfortunately. But I do think Everton will beat us, sadly. Hope I'm wrong. Hope you're right, but fingers crossed. I think I put myself out a few times this season. But yeah, that's it. Alton, say before we wrap up, lads.
Are we doing teams?
Are we doing teams? Do you want to do teams?
Yeah, I've even made the effort of writing it down.
Right. Go for your team then. I've no team this week.
I'm not doing my
I
team.
just want to see 11.
I doubt Ian want to do his team, so we'll just leave Johnny to do his team.
I just want to see a team of Ed Woodward.
I want to see what Johnny's got for a team.
It's clever,
Right,
all
right.
11
So
players.
it's just Johnny's team. This is so Johnny. Let's have a.
Okay.
Let's have a critique of Johnny's team, shall we?
I was going to say, yeah, your input would be nice at this stage, fellas. David De Gea in net, of course. Apparently, you were saying before that Raphael's injured, Ian, or he's on the injury list according to.
He's doubtful still.
He's doubtful. So, I mean, say Raphael's doubtful, so we'll put Jones right back, and then you'd have to say Smalling and Vidic centre backs if Evans is also doubtful. Butner left back. I'd go with. You said Fellaini's also doubtful, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
So
He's always a fucking doubt in my mind.
Mate, yeah. Okay, fair point. Well, we'll go with Fletcher and Carrick in front of the back four. 3 ahead of them, I'd say Kagawa, Mata and Welbeck. And then Rooney if his toe is okay, because I don't really care about England. I know that sounds pretty bad, but I've always been of the opinion that United before England. So I'd put Rooney up front if his toe's all right. And yeah, go for it. Let's play some nice football. How does that team sound, lads? 11 players as well, by the way, not 10. 11.
And he's done it quite quickly.
Yeah, I know.
Christ.
Where's Moyes?
Where's Moisey?
Where's Moisey playing?
Sat at the bench.
Not in the dugout. Not in the dugout.
He's going to be sat there with his arms crossed.
He's
With
got his
Steve
eye
Brown.
out. He stood next to Steve Round.
Yeah, but he telepathically he doesn't stand and feed instructions onto the pitch. He just telepathically instructs the players. That's why he sits down and doesn't do anything, by the way.
Sit on the line. Alright, lads. We're going to wrap it up here. We've got Jonathan's starting 11. Hopefully for a review, we'll have his analysis, his Gary Neville iPad on the show. So that's it. Preview. You got your predictions, team, and we've licked some Everton bum tonight as well. So that's it. Subscribe to Stretty News TV. Lots of videos to come. We'll have some announcements coming close to the summer whether we want to keep going. World Cup, watching Reds in Brazil. We'll let you know in on the know on that one. Make sure you like and subscribe, and you'll get more of this kind of stuff. So thanks for viewing.